Jacqueline, twice in a day. It's all good. John, nice to have you back. Christine, welcome back. So yeah, tonight we're going to just focus on the text. We're doing section 8 of chapter 18, and it's called the Little Garden. So let me share my screen with you so we can have a look at it. I've done translation already, so it's personalized, so we can we'll speed things up a bit. All right, so okay. Let's just zoom it in a bit. Lynn, tell me if this is big enough for you.
I'd like it a fair bigger if you can. I can put my laptop on my lap and that'll be a bit better.
Yeah, like that. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't you kick it off with paragraph 1? Read it in the alternative because there's not much to translate.
Okay. So read the alternative, yeah? It is only the awareness of the body that makes perfect love seem limited. For the body is a limit on love. The belief in limited love was its origin, and it was made to limit the unlimited. Think not that this is merely allegorical, for it was made to limit me. Can I, who see myself within a body, know myself as an idea? Everything I recognize, I identify with externals, something outside myself. I cannot even think of the pure formless awareness of perfect love without a body, or in some form I think I recognize.
Yeah. You recognize, you identify with external, something outside itself, something outside myself. Outside the body. In the body, know yourself. Really recognize, you identify with something outside the body, maybe say outside my body.
I'm curious as to why he says it's only the awareness of the body that makes perfect love seem limited.
Yeah.
Because I would have thought negative thought, grievances.
Yeah, but that's all body. That's all because of your identification with yourself as a body.
Okay.
Why do I hold a grievance? Because I think I'm a separate self in a body. Now someone has done something to me in my body.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all bound up.
Yeah.
With the body. If we didn't believe we were a body, we couldn't believe in separation, could we? We're like, well, there's no separate self. So how can I hold a grievance if there's no separate self? So it's all, it's all bound up into the thought system of the ego that has made bodies. Separation has created the body, and awareness of the body is what keeps us locked in to the separation. It becomes the ego's primary device for maintaining the separation, along with the special relationship. But then who's relating but a body? When you think you're in a special relationship, you think you're a body relating to someone else's body.
Yeah. In which case, number 3 is interesting. The belief in limited love was its origin, which I can see that, because if we are going to believe in limited love, then the body comes along to enable that.
Yeah.
And it was
limited love is then takes the form of the special relationship, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes.
That's the
And it
limitation of
was-
love, which the ego offers us.
And it was made to limit the unlimited, which I guess is just a slightly different way of saying the same thing. Hmm.
Yeah. Belief in limited love was its origin. So we've separated from love, we've denied love, we've put some kind of limits on love. Then the ego says, well, you can't completely forsake love. So it seeks for special love within its thought system. One body to another. You know, I love you as a separate identity and a separate body. And this is its substitute for divine love.
Mm.
And it's all part of the thought system that has created the body to start with.
What's he mean by allegorical? And does that mean, think not that this is merely qualitative, allegoric?
Well, allegorical, an allegory is a story, isn't it? So an
Like
allegory is a story.
allegedly.
Yeah. Well, let's just see.
Yeah,
Allegorical.
you've got it down there.
Constituting or containing an allegory. Oh, well, that's very helpful. Okay, so let's do allegory. Allegory.
Allegory is a literary device that uses.
A story, a poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. Okay, so it's something that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning. So let's look at this. He says, I do not think this is merely allegorical. I do not think that this is merely allegorical. Belief in limited love was its origin. It was made to limit the unlimited. So is this just a story that has a hidden meaning, deeper meaning? But he's saying no, it was made to limit. It was made to limit me. So it's very, what he's trying to say is it's very, very pertinent to your, seeming experience, your reality here.
Yeah, it's saying don't just think this is some sort of
not just a story. Yeah, this is actually practically what the ego's done, and this has a profound effect on your life experience. It was made to limit me. So it has these it has a profoundly negative effect, which I need to see. I need to perceive that correctly. Otherwise, the temptation might be to go, oh, well, it's just a story, oh, well, limited love. And, you can sometimes people can look at the Course from a theoretical perspective, and it's all theory. And it can seem quite sort of high level and removed. So I think what he's trying to do here is bring it back to our experience and say, well, it was made to limit you, which will have a direct impact on your daily life experience and on your quality of that experience.
Yeah, it flows nicely actually, doesn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so what's he saying here, Lynn? Can you summarize number 1 for us?
If we believe we are the body, we're looking outside of ourselves for love. And we won't find it.
I identify with external, something outside my body. You cannot even think of God without a body or in some form you think you recognize. So look at, what he's saying is look at how we have to put a body to something. I mean, the the depictions of God. You see God, touching in the Sistine Chapel, God touching his Adam and so
I
on.
don't
So
I don't
we have
believe
to-
in that God thing, so I struggle with that.
No, but there's a depiction. We try and
Yeah.
put
The long
God
white
into
hair and the
form.
white beard, yeah.
Yeah, we try and put God into form.
Yeah.
But this you're saying that's ridiculous. I cannot even think of God without a body. When some form I think I recognize, even if it's an abstract form. We have a concept then of God, not necessarily seeing God as a body, but there's some kind of form to this. So
Doing exactly what we do to ourselves.
Yeah.
And we
So think of the major religions: Christianity, Judaism, Islam, the monotheistic religions. They've created a form for God. They might not see him as a body, but there's some kind of a concept of this God that's somehow outside of you.
being, yeah.
Yeah, like a super being, or a fearful, wrathful, vengeful being, a punishing being, a judgmental father, whatever. There's a concept that goes along with it in some form. I think I recognize, and that's just the ego's attempt to try and understand what is beyond its comprehension. It cannot understand pure formless awareness of perfect love, because it's beyond the ego's thought system. And to try and frame that awareness within the ego's thought system is impossible. But he's saying, look, you try. And so recognize how attached you still are to the body identification, and how that limits perfect love. Body is a limit on love. And this is interesting. Can I perceive myself within a body, know myself as an idea?
Yeah, I didn't understand that bit.
This could be better phrased. So can I know myself as an idea if I perceive myself within a body? Well, you can't, can you? You think you're a body. So what does he mean by an idea?
Yeah, that's the bit I don't get.
Well, we don't have form. If we're pure formless awareness of perfect love, we are just that, pure formless awareness. So we are awareness, and we are an idea in that awareness. That's all. Right? God is the idea of perfect formless awareness. We are that same idea. So we are not corporeal. We're not bodies. We are just an idea. We're an idea in the mind of God, if you want to phrase it that way.
That's hard.
Well, if you
Just an idea.
not a body, your body is not real, right?
Yeah, I know.
Your body is actually your body is just a projection of an idea. It's a manifest form of an idea of separation. That's what gave rise to the body, right? But that idea of separation is false. The idea of oneness is true. So that oneness is your true identity, and it's just an idea. It's not something you can say there's a form to it. There's nothing tangible to it. So you are that idea in the mind of God. Perfectly formed, whole, complete, just an idea. There's no form to you because you're pure formless awareness. You're the product, the extension of pure formless awareness, which is the ultimate idea. Well, there's no idea beyond that. There's nothing higher than that. It's the alpha and the omega. It's the beginning and the end. It's the first and the final idea, and it's never changed. That I am pure formless awareness of perfect love and nothing else. And the body is saying just denies that. Everything
I haven't quite departed my body yet, though.
No, you see, we still think we're attached to the body in our experience. But then we still think that somehow we bodies. And that's a deeply entrenched perception, which we are being asked to challenge here and dislodge. So no, well, maybe you're not a body. What happens when you die? No more body, but the mind continues. We know that from people who've had near-death experiences. So they couldn't have ever been bodies then.
Mm.
The delusion of the ego,
The
that
awareness.
false idea of separation that's the idea that has miscreated the body. Do you see? The body is a product of an idea, a false idea.
That we're separated.
Yes, and that's why the body seems to exist, because it gives form to that idea of separation. It confirms that you're a separate self. Because look, you can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. There's you, and then there's other bodies. So they must be separate from you. Surely that's what you're being shown. And all of it is a product of an idea, a false idea. But the truth is, you're an idea in the mind of God. So the pure formless awareness of perfect love is your idea. It's the only idea that's true. And you are just that. And there's no forms. No form is required. Yeah.
Mm.
Makes sense?
Yeah. It was like when you said it the other way round, I could see it really clearly. Might have gone again now, but as you were saying, oh yeah, that makes absolute sense when you say it that way around.
Yeah, the other way around. What? Which way was that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I said. I tried to think what it was, but when you said it, it made absolute sense to me. But
Well,
I don't know. I'll have to listen back. What time is it? I'll have to listen back on the recording.
Well, it's both ways. Look at the idea of separation as manifested in the body, but the idea of oneness is what transcends the body. And one of those ideas must be true, and the other one must be false. I can't be perfect oneness and also be a body. Not possible, because they contradict each other. The body demonstrates that perfect oneness isn't true. So either that's the truth or perfect oneness is true, but both of them can't be true.
When you said when someone passes away, or when people have had like near-death experiences, or they've died and come back and they're still here, that makes it so clear, doesn't it? That makes it so much easier to see.
Yeah.
The body died, but we didn't.
But they went away, and they had a whole experience, and then they come back into the body. The body comes back to so-called life. And during that time, science goes, well, there's nothing going on. The brain function stops 15 seconds after death, no brain function, right? The brain is dead. Nothing's going on, no electrical activity in the brain, nothing measurable in the body, but the person's having this whole experience, which they come back and they speak about, but they weren't in their brain, they weren't in their body, clearly. So where were they then? So a near-death experience points so clearly to a transcendent reality. You have to be completely blind and stubbornly resistant to the truth to ignore it. So, well, how can you ignore thousands of accounts of near-death experiences and somehow say, oh, well, everyone's hallucinating? This is how science explains it. Oh, they're all just making it up or hallucinating or whatever. Okay, so they're all having these experiences and you just deny them because you can't measure it. Because what it's saying is that you're not a body. That's what it's saying. You never were a body. Your mind can exist without the body. And maybe that is in fact your natural state, and the body is in fact the hallucination. See?
Yeah.
That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
You think you're in a body, you think you're in a separate body in this world. Maybe the whole thing's a hallucination. And actually, when you die and you leave the body in the world behind, you go back to reality. See? So it's completely inverse of the way the ego has framed it. which is what he's trying to teach us. You can't believe in the ego system at all. I'm pointing out how attached we are to bodies. Okay, so any other questions, thoughts, comments on number 1?
If we just take that thought a bit further in terms of the body being healthy,
Mm-hmm.
if the body is healthy and there's no negative thought, then the body is just functioning.
Mm-hmm.
It's when we have thoughts of separation that we start to get illness.
Mm.
And the healing process starts with going back to the thought that we are an idea
Mm.
and not a body,
Mm.
and reuniting with that concept
Mm.
to then purify the body, healing.
Mm. Yeah. To recognize sickness is just an idea.
Yeah.
That's all. Just an idea. So you change your idea and the sickness can disappear. The body just acts out what the mind believes. That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
It's just the manifest form of it. So it can be very helpful. Okay, you can see now the acting out, the manifestation of your thoughts in and through the body. You know, that can be used for your awakening. It's not ultimately real, but it's like the canary, you know, in the gold mine. It's a signpost. It's a messenger. So, okay, well, you know, then you were saying you had some stuff going on in your body. You know, it's a message for you to say, okay, pay attention. You know, there's obviously then underneath that, there's something in the mind. But go to the healing on the mind level and forget about the physical, because that's illusory. You're not trying to heal this illusory thing that doesn't even exist. What's the point? It's really the mind that needs to heal. And the body just shows you that, okay, there's a disturbance in the mind. So then you focus on the mental and emotional healing, and very often the body just follows suit, because it's just a projection. So the healing happens on the mental emotional level, and then the body follows suit, and the body gets well, because there's no more cause of that illness in the mind. So it's just to recognize that we are not bodies, and we are mind. We're an idea in the mind of God, if you want to put it that way.
But then we do get the case of holy spiritual people getting ill.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Ken Wapnick died of cancer or whatever it was. But are we to think then that in that case something else is going on? The body's just kind of deteriorating of its own accord. Maybe his mind remains pure.
Well, I mean, one doesn't know. Who knows? You know, what was going on for Ken Wapnick? Maybe he had some unresolved stuff, and that manifested as the cancer. We don't know. Ramana, you know, also died of cancer. I mean, Ramana was an enlightened being, no doubt. So why did he get cancer? You know, like, well, that doesn't make sense from a logical point of view. But maybe that was just his exit. So he was like, okay, the body's. He wasn't disturbed by it at all. He was still in his moksha state, in bliss. Just wasn't really bothered by whatever the body was doing. So there was no pain, there was no suffering, and that was just the way the body was then let go of. There was no disturbance in his mind, because he realized he wasn't a body. He'd realized that when he was 16. So for him, the cancer wasn't really. There was no bother. He wasn't even bothered to try and heal it. Well, why would you try and heal what's not real, you see? Because there was no identification with it. So
That's confusing though, isn't it? Because if he knew at the age of 16 he wasn't the body, but he manifested physical cancer that ended his life in that body. No, I know. I suppose everyone has to go one way or another. It just seems a weird thing. If he knew he wasn't the body.
Well, maybe that was his checkout mechanism. He's like, okay, it's time to go. You know, we've all got to go. Remember, staying in form when you're pure formless awareness is a even at that level. You know, he would feel like, yes, I'm not really a body. I just, you know, ultimately I want to transcend the body. So that was how he left. So, you know, maybe he manifested it because it's my time. So okay, body's got to go somehow. So cancer will do. We don't know.
Go to sleep. I just want to go to sleep.
There's no way of knowing. I'm not sure he ever recorded, you know, much about it, but you know, it's known that he did have cancer, but that he wasn't bothered by it. It really didn't disturb him in the slightest. You know, he stayed in a state of moksha, which is a state of superconscious bliss, for most of the time, as he always did. You know, he just stayed there, and if they needed him, they'd bring him out and he'd talk to people. So, you know, I don't think he would have I don't think at that point he was even feeling the body. In superconscious awareness, there's no awareness of the body. He's transcended that. So he'd spend most of his life in that. So, you know, the seeming fact that the body was sick and dying, you know, wouldn't really have bothered him. He even said to his disciples, because they were getting sad, he's like, have you learned nothing? I'm not a body. I'm not going anywhere. You know, I'll still be what I am. I'm the self, capital self. So the body is irrelevant. And why are you sad? Because I'm not a body. Have you learned nothing from my teachings? I'm not a body. So maybe it was a lesson. You know, he was teaching to his disciples. This is his way of checking out. You know, we can speculate endlessly, but I'm not sure there's any point to it really, because who knows?
No, I never know.
The principles are the principles, you know, irrespective of individual examples like Ken Wapnick. And Ken Wapnick, who knows? I don't know. You know, was he perfectly enlightened? Maybe not. Maybe he had some residual ego, and then it manifested as the cancer. One, you know, can't say, but the principles remain true. You know, so let's stick to those in this case. What he's saying here is, you know, is an eternal truth, and then it's just about, you know, can you accept it for yourself or not? All right. So, any other questions on number one?
No, it's good.
Yeah. So number two, John, if you can read that. What do we have? We have a bit of translation there. So if you can read it in the original and the alternative, please.
Yeah. The body cannot know. And while you limit and while you limit your awareness to its tiny senses, you will not see the grandeur that surrounds you. My body cannot know, and while I limit my awareness to its tiny senses, I will not see the grandeur that surrounds me.
Okay, I will not perceive, shall we say, grandeur that surrounds me. Okay.
God cannot come into a body, nor can you join him there. The pure formless awareness of perfect love cannot come into a body, nor can I join it there. But in meditation, that kind of pure formless awareness is, we are joining with pure formless awareness, aren't we? And
Yeah.
I mean, it is experienced in the body as,
Well, why not experience in the body? It's experienced in the mind. How do you experience pure formless awareness in the body?
in the sense of peace.
Yeah, but that peace is in your mind. It's not in the body. It's all mind. You know? Well, any experience we have is experienced in mind. If we have a seemingly physical sensation, that's still being experienced in our minds. Just seems to be located in the body.
Okay.
Mind tells you, oh, well, now you've got, this going on in this part of your body or whatever. But that experience, what's perceiving it? The mind is perceiving it.
Okay.
The body experiences nothing. Because the body has no awareness of its own.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, it's fundamental to the teaching. It's saying you are mind and only mind, and there is no body, and the body has no intelligence, consciousness of its own. It's all mind, and the body is just a projection of the mind, and then a means for the mind to seemingly experience itself as a body, which is a delusion.
I'm just thinking.
In and through the mind.
I'm just thinking of the feeling of peace and serenity that can be attained through meditation, for example, is felt in the body. But I understand that
the body is held in mind. You understand? The body is a construct of the mind. You think you perceive it in the body, but it's actually still being perceived in your mind because everything's in mind.
Yeah.
Every experience, every physical experience, every sensation you've ever had is being experienced in the mind.
Yeah.
Without the mind, there would be no experience.
So
the body is a construct of the mind.
So in times of torment, disease, that is felt in the body, but so it's not felt in the mind.
Yeah. So the trick of the ego is to displace it from the mind into the body and say, oh, no, the body's sick or the body's suffering. And it projects its guilt onto the body. And then it seems to show up in the body, but it's all happening really in the mind. Where's every experience you've ever had being experienced? Who's experiencing it? What's experiencing it? It's your mind that's experiencing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every body sensation, well, what's perceiving the body sensation? Well, your mind is. What's aware of the body as whatever, hot, cold, up, down. What's aware of that? Well, the mind's aware of that. And Yeshua's saying there is no sentience in the body. There is no consciousness in the body. It's all in the mind. But the mind is just mistaken itself for a body. So now it thinks it's a body, and it's seemingly having to live within those limits that it's imposed upon itself. So any body experience is still experienced in the mind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So limits on love.
Limits on love will always seem to shut him out and keep you apart from him. Limits on love will always seem to shut it out and keep me apart from it. The body is a tiny fence around a little part of a glorious and complete idea. My body is a tiny fence around a little part of the glorious and complete idea. It draws a circle infinitely small around a very little segment of heaven splintered from the whole. proclaiming that within it is your kingdom where God can enter not. Draws a circle infinitely small around a very little segment of the state of pure formless awareness, splintered from the whole, proclaiming that within it is my kingdom, where pure formless awareness of perfect love cannot enter.
Yeah. Then it is my home, maybe. Kingdom.
Home, domain.
My domain.
Home.
I think. Let's make
Yeah.
it simple.
So what he's saying here is that as long as I associate with myself with the body, I am limiting my awareness and switching off my connection to love. Because my body is effectively a barrier, a fence that keeps me from connection with my wholeness, my right-mindedness.
Tiny fence around a little part of a glorious and complete idea. So we're infinite awareness, and then we limit that and we say, well, I'm going to draw a little fence around myself, and I'm going to imagine this to be real, and separate myself off from this glorious and complete awareness in order to have some kind of separate identity and be splintered off from the whole, and then think that it's my home. And that pure formless awareness of perfect love is gone forever. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Any other thoughts on that? Questions, comments?
No, I think it follows on from the first paragraph. Nicely.
Okay. Yeah. You summarized it, I think. You're happy with that, everyone? So number 3. It's Christine, I think. If you can read number 3 for us, Christine. In this kingdom, the ego rules cruelly. So read it in the alternative.
Within this kingdom, the belief in separation rules and cruelly. And to defend this little speck of dust, it bids me fight against the universe. This fragment of my mind is such a tiny part of it that, could I but appreciate the whole, I would see instantly that it is like the smallest sunbeam to the sun, or like the faintest ripple on the surface of the ocean. In its amazing arrogance, this tiny sunbeam has decided it is the sun. This almost imperceptible ripple hails itself as the ocean. Think how alone and frightened is this little thought. This infinitesimal illusion, holding itself apart against the universe. The sun becomes the sunbeam's enemy that would devour it, and the ocean terrifies the little ripple and wants to swallow it.
Perfect. It's perfect for you to read this, isn't it?
What did you say?
I said it's perfect, given what you shared, for you to have read this.
Yes, you mean about the
Oh,
self.
the fear, and it's like you go out and it's like, it seems to terrify you.
Oh, I see,
So,
yes.
so you feel fearful and, scared and actually it's all just a denial of this perfect truth against the universe of truth. And when he says universe, he doesn't mean this physical universe. Doesn't mean that. People misinterpret it. Against the universe, he doesn't mean the physical manifest universe. It means the universe of truth.
Yeah, we make ourselves small and identifying with the body
Hmm.
is the whole problem in limiting us to this tiny drop in the ocean or the sunbeam.
The ocean terrifies a little ripple and wants to swallow it. So from the perspective of if the sunbeam or the ripple identify themselves as separate, then they're terrified of losing their separate identity to the sun or to the ocean, even though they're inevitably a part of it. There's no way that you can separate them from it. So it's a complete delusion. The ripple is not separate from the ocean, and the sunbeam is not separate from the sun. They're already one with their source. Okay, so you want to summarize that in your own words? What's he saying here?
Well, that was what I thought I did. The fact that we limit ourselves with our body as being this tiny man idea when we could acknowledge that we're part of the whole. The whole powerful universal truth is in me and I am it.
No, instead we fear it. We fear merging with the ocean or with the sun, because we lose our separate identity. But we never had a separate identity. It was a delusion. The ripple cannot be separate from the ocean. The sunbeam cannot be separate from the sun. It's not possible. It is one with its source. Okay, any other thoughts, comments, questions on that one?
No, it's fine, just as it is.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to number 4. I think it's Lynn again.
Yeah.
Read it in the alternative, Lynn.
Yet neither sun nor ocean is even aware of all this strange and meaningless activity. They merely continue, unaware that they are feared and hated by a tiny segment of themselves. Even that segment is not lost to them, for it could not survive apart from them, and what it thinks it is in no way, what it thinks it is in no way changes its total dependence on them for its being. Its whole existence still remains in them. Without the sunbeam would be gone. The ripple without the ocean is inconceivable. I missed the paragraph before because I was feeding the cat.
Okay, so you just said that you're drawing an analogy, which is lovely. We think we are separate. We think we're like a sunbeam, sunbeam to the sun, or like the faintest ripple on the surface of the ocean. If I appreciated the whole, I would immediately perceive that is like, drawing an analogy to say, yes, I'm my so-called identity is just like a sunbeam is to the sun, or a little ripple to the ocean. It's the same kind of relationship. It's enormous, and the ocean is vast compared to the ripple. Sunbeam is just, extraordinarily small compared with the source, which is the whole sun. But it's inextricably part of it. There's no separation, between them. The delusion that the sunbeam or the ripple has is that they are separate. Somehow they have their own identity, separate from the sun or the ocean. And that's just a delusion.
So what's this? They merely continue unaware that they are feared and hated by a tiny segment of themselves. Is that like that how we feel about ourselves when we feel we're separated?
Hmm.
Continue unaware that they are feared.
Oh, well, they are
Unaware.
feared. So the sun and the ocean are the whole. They're pure formless awareness of perfect love. They simply are. And the fear, the seeming fear and hatred of a tiny segment of themselves is just not even in their awareness. Like the ocean doesn't know that the ripple seems to hate it and deny it. And it's like
It's all connected regardless.
It's not concerned about that at all. And even that segment is not lost to them. We could not survive apart from them. So we would have no existence at all if we weren't part of the ocean, part of the sun. There would be no manifest existence at all. And he's just pointing that out.
Yeah.
Inextricably bound up with the source. You cannot really separate the sunbeam from the sun or the ripple from the ocean. They don't exist independently, do they?
No.
Obvious.
It's just that illusion that we cut ourselves off and kid ourselves that we're separate.
We're completely reliant. The sunbeam could not exist without the sun. The ripple could not exist without the ocean. Same way we couldn't exist without source. It's not possible. We are just part of it. We're an extension of it. And it's just to recognize it. If we deluded enough to believe that we are separate, then we have to correct that and realize that we are one with it. We can't ever be separate from it. Okay?
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that?
No. Makes it very clear.
Yeah, it's a lovely analogy. And the analogy is there to demonstrate, to illustrate his point. And for these, he uses these physical analogies. You love nature, so you're well aware that this is the case. Yeah, I mean, to think that the ripple is separate from the ocean, it's delusional. It's not. But he's saying, well, we are like that, like the ripple, believing that we have some kind of separate existence from the ocean, and we fear and we hate the very thing we're part of. Well, that can only be delusional. And he's saying the source, the ocean, has no awareness of that. It's not aware of our fear and our hatred at all. Not concerned with it at all, because it just is what it is. And from its perspective, the ripple or the sunbeam are not separate from it. How can they be?
They're extensions of.
Yeah. They would have no existence without. Without the sunbeam would be gone. The ripple without the ocean would be inconceivable. Well, so without the whole, the seeming part could not exist. In fact, doesn't. There is no separate part. You know, the ocean is one whole complete. And the ripples, they seem to have some separate existence, but they don't really.
They're all connected.
Well, they're all they are the ocean. The ripples are the ocean. See? So the sunship we make up, we're the seeming ripples, but we all make up the ocean. Just we've got so into our ripple consciousness that we've forgotten that we're just ripples on the ocean, and that actually the ocean is much bigger than any ripple. And that the ripples are so temporary. You know, they come and they go. It's just a temporary fluctuation, and then it stops, and then the water reforms, and so you know, it's like we're in that ripple, and from birth to death, it's just like that. In all of time, it's like that. So a ripple comes and the ripple goes, and that's what we think of as our lives, and we think it's very important and very real. And, you know, we got caught up in the ripple, and actually it's just over. So if it can be over like that so quickly, then was it ever real? You know, what is changing, what is ephemeral cannot be real. This is the teaching. It was never real. Just part of an illusion of reality that's taken us in. Convinced us that we are separate from our source, when that's just not possible. In the same way as it's not possible to separate the ripple from the ocean or the sunbeam from the sun. Okay. Happy to move on, everyone, to number 5.
Yep.
Okay, so such is the strange position.
Such is the strange position in which I, in a world inhabited by bodies, seem to be. Each body seems to house a separate mind, a disconnected thought, living alone and in no way joined to the thought by which it was created. Each tiny fragment seems to be self-contained, needing another for some things, and by no means totally dependent on its one source for everything, needing the whole to give it any meaning, but by itself it does not mean anything rather than nothing, nor any life apart and by itself.
No way joined to the thought by which it was created. And for some things, but by no means totally dependent on one source of everything. A whole to give it any meaning, for by itself it does not mean anything. Okay, so what are you suggesting?
Oh, just anything rather than nothing.
For by itself, it does mean nothing. Okay.
Oh, hang on. Oh, for by itself, it does mean, okay. Oh, yeah, okay, I misread it actually. Right, needing the whole to give it any meaning, for by itself, it does mean nothing. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, I misread it.
You don't need the does there. For by itself, it means nothing.
Yeah.
It's much better.
Nor has it any life apart and by itself. So it's kind of just expanding on the same idea as when we are believing that we are separate bodies, disconnected, living alone, with no acknowledgement of our source. We are thinking we are self-contained, then we are denying source and denying the where our life comes from.
needing the whole. So by no means totally dependent on its one source for everything. Needing the whole. Maybe something like another sentence. It needs the whole to give it any meaning, for by itself, or it means nothing. Means nothing by itself. Yeah, I mean, the analogy of the ripple on the sunbeam is quite good.
Yeah.
What they would have no existence and no meaning without the ocean or the sun. Clearly. It just seems like we have some kind of independent existence because of the body, that actually it has no meaning at all apart from the whole. Nor is it any life apart and by itself. Okay, so do you want to kind of summarize that? Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just highlighting the illusion of the separate self and how it seems to be housed in the body. It seems to be a fragment of the whole and not connected to the whole. But actually, in truth, it needs the whole to give it any meaning. And in truth, it's the whole to give it any meaning, for it means nothing by itself, nor has it any life apart and by itself. So there's no meaning, and we can see that clearly from the analogy. I mean, there's no meaning in the ripple seeming to be separate from the ocean. Anyone, on that level would go, well, that's ridiculous. How can you say that the ripple has some kind of separate existence from the ocean? It's a crazy notion, isn't it? So
Yeah.
he just wants to see it. It's the same insanity to think that we can somehow be separate from our source. That cannot be real. All right, number 6. Happy to move on. Whose turn is it? Christine?
Yes,
Sun and ocean.
like the sun and ocean, myself continues, unmindful that this tiny part regards itself as me. It is not missing. It could not exist if it were separate, nor would the whole be whole without it. It is not a separate kingdom ruled by an idea of separation from the rest, nor does the fence around it prevent, nor does a fence around it preventing it from joining with the rest and keeping it apart from source. This little aspect is no different from the whole. Being continuous with it and at one with it, it leads no separate life because its life is the oneness in which its being created, in which its being was created.
It's maybe capitalized. Its life, capital, is the oneness in which its being I've never liked the creation idea because it seems to imply It was not existing at some point, and then at some point it was created. But actually that life is eternal. That life has never not been there. And the self, capital self, connects us with life. There's no separate life because its life, capital life, is the oneness in which its being exists eternally. Okay, you want to give a little summary of that?
Well,
Your own words.
myself, myself, the being that is part of the oneness, exists eternally, and nothing is missing, it could not be separated. It's
Yeah, anything else? I think Christine's frozen. Christine, you still there? And she's frozen. Okay. So any other thoughts on number 6? I don't want to summarize that. What's he saying there? None, John?
It sounds like what you were saying before, that we're eternal, that our souls continue on. They don't end.
Oh, it's
Just didn't take in the end bit of it. Where are we? The aspect is different from the whole.
myself continues, unmindful. This tiny part regards itself as me. My true self is not bothered at all by the ego's delusion that it is me. Not missing, could not exist if it was separate, nor the whole be whole without it. But it's all part of a whole. There's no separate state governed by an idea of separation. It's governed from the rest. There's no fence surrounding it, preventing it from joining with the rest, so i.e. no body, keeping it apart from its source. A little aspect of the whole is no different from the whole. And that should really be capitalized, shouldn't it? Whole. And capitalize it apart from its creator. And with the whole. We capitalized whole earlier, but not down here. So no different whole, including her being continuous with it and at one. Okay, so the whole is the wholeness of God, pure form, source of perfect love. That is one, complete, whole. has no separate life because its life is the life. Its life is the oneness in which its being exists eternally. And so, very essence of life is the oneness in which we exist eternally. We were not created, we can't be destroyed, we live forever in that eternal home. Okay, so any more thoughts on that? Questions, comments? John, you okay with that?
I'll be back in about 5 minutes, John.
Okay. No problem. Christine's back. Just ask her if she has any comments about that one. Hi, Christine. Sorry, you dropped out. I was just going to ask you for a summary of that number 6. You don't mind? You got load shedding.
Yeah, load shedding.
So what's he saying in number 6?
I was beginning to say something about myself, which is in fact the life, sorry, my voice is going. My life in the oneness exists not in a separate state or governed by an idea of separation, but part of the whole, part of source. Joining with the rest and keeping it apart. I mean, myself continues as part of source.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the blackness that I sit now is that little light that shines forth in the form of a cell phone, which keeps me connected.
Oh. It's always there. Cannot be alone.
Yeah.
Which is very comforting. The ripple is not separate from the ocean. You never have been. Your delusion of being separate is the only problem. You think you are. But how can you be?
Not that we think we are, we've been conditioned to believe that we are, because everyone around us thinks like that, believes that. And so
it was a choice. We chose, see? Yes, that is now a societal program, and most people are asleep. And this has become the sort of dominant default thought system. But we all chose to do this. We all wanted a separate identity. Way back when, when the universe started, when time started, we made a choice. We wanted to be a separate self. We desired to be a separate self, and our mind made it so because that's what we wanted. And now the world is just the product of that. So, the world seems to reinforce that choice, and everyone's asleep, and you go, oh, well, we're a product of conditioning. No, you're not really. You're a product of the choices you have made up to this point. And you can track it all back to one tiny mad idea that you believed in. You chose to believe in that tiny mad idea. And that's the source of all the problems that you experience. So it comes down to individual choice. I'm not a product of my societal conditioning because I chose to be a separate self, but I can choose again. But you see how the ego works. It tries to somehow justify and say, well, I'm not responsible because I'm a product of my conditioning. No, you chose. We all chose. And therefore you can choose again. See? Ego, the last thing it wants you to do is realize the power of decision that you have. just today's workbook lesson. And let me recognize the power of decision is my own. So I have the power to decide otherwise and to end the separation. If I can recognize that power, if I can claim full responsibility for my current situation as it is, I'm not blaming anyone or anything else. No, I'm here because I chose to be here, right? It's my decision. You're in the dark right now because you chose it all, you see? Then that radical responsibility allows you to choose again. Say, well, then I can make another choice because I'm responsible for all of it. As he says in today's lesson, you might think that this is too all-encompassing a position. You know, you chose it all. But he's saying, but can the truth have exceptions? We did this afternoon, but I'll go back to it. The first couple of paragraphs. So he's saying here, I'm going to read that. Paragraph 1, read an alternative.
I cannot suffer loss unless it is my own decision to do so. I do. Oh, the lights have come back on.
Isn't that interesting? Huh? As we change our mind, look at what happens.
Someone sent a buzzer note to say that there's an unscheduled power cut in Albert Road in Hart Bay.
Right.
And so this was obviously not scheduled, but I thought it was going to go off at 10 o'clock. What is the time now?
No, it's earlier.
About 8 o'clock.
You're about 20 past 8 your time.
Okay, it's due to go off at 10 o'clock. So if it happens again, that'll be the genuine one and it'll be my bedtime.
Yeah, well, it should be done by then, hopefully.
So I'm reading this. I do not suffer pain except when I choose this state. I cannot grieve or fear to be sick unless these are the outcomes that I want. And I do not die without my own consent. Nothing occurs that does not represent my wish. Nothing is omitted that I choose. Here is my world, complete in all details. Here is its full reality for me, and it is only here that I can awaken. Yes, taking full responsibility for everything that's happening around me is the new choice, because the habit is always to blame and turn and point a finger at someone else or something else.
And you see, the problem with that is that what you're saying is then I can't free myself. If I'm not responsible for everything, then how can I make a choice to free myself? Then I seem to be a victim of circumstances outside of my control.
Yes, yes.
And that's not the case, because we chose it all. The moment you decided to be separate, the moment that everything kicked off and everything that's happened subsequent is a consequence of that single choice. And then, yeah, you're responsible for all of it. So it's, difficult initially to get your head around that, your mind around it.
But the more we do it and the more we realize that every conscious and unconscious thought we have from now on is going to ripple out into eternity. And it's going to affect everything and everyone. So now that we know, we have to be very focused in choosing pure formless awareness of perfect love. I am part of. I am that I am. I am love.
Yes, you may believe this position is extreme, too inclusive to be true. Someone else read that, maybe John. Is John back? He's going for 5 minutes, maybe. Right, Lynn, if you can read that. I may believe this position is extreme.
I may believe that this position is extreme and too inclusive to be true. Yet can truth have exceptions? If I have the gift of everything, can loss be real? Can pain be part of peace or grief of joy? Can fear and sickness enter in a mind where love and perfect innocence are present? Truth must be all inclusive to be the truth at all. I accept no opposites and no exceptions, for to do so, it is to contradict the truth entirely.
Okay. So he's saying very clearly, hey, you're responsible for all of it. Nothing happens without your choice, because you chose to be a separate self. You chose separation. So then all the consequences that seem to unfold are then your responsibility. We look at where are we? That's what I wanted. At the moment we chose. We had a tiny mad idea, and we didn't just go, okay, well, that's just, whatever, it's just an idea, I'm not going to believe it. We wanted it. We desired it to be true, so we believed in it, and we made it real in our minds, and we manifested it. And so everything that has come from that idea, we are responsible for. So that's the entire manifest universe, everything that's ever seemed to happen, everything that ever will seem to happen. That's the radical responsibility, because only when you do that can you say, well, I can let it all go. If I'm 100% responsible for the entire dream, then what? I can choose to let it all go. I can make another decision, and I can collapse the whole thing by letting it all go. But if it seems that I'm not responsible, and there's various outside factors that are hurting me and enslaving me, then I can't ever come to that awareness that I can let it all go, because apparently it's outside of my control. So you see why being a victim enslaves you, and why taking 100% responsibility frees you, because you can then make the choice to let it all go if you're 100% responsible, and free yourself from every illusion that you've ever believed in. Okay, so back to, I just wanted to take a little, detour into 152, because it is today's lesson, and it's really very pertinent. All right, so happy to move on to number 7. Who's going to read this?
I can read this one.
Okay.
I do not accept this little fenced off aspect of as myself. The sun and ocean are as nothing beside what I am. The sunbeam sparkles only in the sunlight, and the ripple dances as it rests upon the ocean. Yet in neither sun nor ocean is the power that rests in me. Would I remain within my tiny kingdom, a sorry king, a bitter ruler of all that he surveys, who looks on nothing yet, who would still die to defend it? This little self is not my arched high above it.
You need to just mute one of you're doing twice, Christine.
Yeah. Sorry, just a minute. Okay.
Okay.
This little self is not my kingdom. Arched high above it and surrounding it with love is the glorious whole, which offers all its happiness and deep content to every part. The little aspect that I think I set apart is no exception.
Okay. So what's he saying here in summary?
So I'm just rereading it again, actually, because it's the impactfulness of number 2 that I'm just kind of dwelling on. The sun and ocean are as nothing beside what I am. In the sense of the physical sun and ocean.
Yeah, exactly, because they're illusions.
Yeah.
So we think of them as, wow, you know, the ocean is so big and vast, and the sun, I mean, this is extraordinary, you know, thing that gives life to the whole planet and is enormous and huge. I mean, many people worship the sun, as we know in human history. They worship the sun as a god because it seems to be so big and powerful, but it's as nothing beside what I am. Yeah, no problem, Lynn. You can listen if you like. Might actually help you to speak, but see how we go. Stay tuned. So, you know, the magnitude of our true self is eternal. It makes the illusions of the sun and ocean in this world insignificant. They are nothing beside what I truly am. Neither sun nor ocean is the power that rests in me. Interesting. That is interesting because you say, well, the source is everywhere. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. And they're saying that in neither sun nor ocean is the power that rests in me. I think the sun and the ocean are projections of our mind. So they're not ultimately real.
Well, I think it's kind of just interesting because in previous paragraphs he's been talking about we are a drop in the ocean and the ocean is huge, and then suddenly he's saying, well, actually the ocean is nothing in comparison to what I truly am.
Yeah. The physical ocean, it's just a projection of the mind. It's not true. There's the ocean. None of it. The power that rests in me is, you know, this infinite eternal power, and it's way beyond the sun or the ocean, which are just projections of the ego mind. And do I really want to remain within my tiny home? Starry king, a bitter ruler of all that I survey. It looks on nothing, yet who would still die to defend it.
I look on nothing.
So the world of form is nothing. It perceives nothing, yet who would still die to defend it. Well, so we die because we defend an illusion of a reality.
So he's really emphasizing this one, that it's an assertion in the sense that we refuse to accept this idea that we are separate little beings, and we are acknowledging that there is a far greater entity, a far greater power of which we are a part. So why would we remain in this small bit of our so-called universe that is so insignificant?
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Why would we? Little aspect that I think I set apart is no exception to this. Again, is asking us the question, would you really want to be separate from your source? Do you really want to believe in the delusion that you're some kind of separate ripple, separate sunbeam, separate from the whole? In a little self, contained in this limited self-concept within a body that is doomed to suffer and die. Do you really want this as your reality? Or would you prefer the glorious love? Surrounding it with perfect love is the glorious whole. So all its happiness and deep contentment to every part. And whatever I thought I set apart is no exception to this. Okay. Any other comments, questions on number 7? Number 8. Justine, if you can read that one.
Love knows no bodies and reaches to everything created like itself. Its total lack of limit is its meaning. It is completely impartial in its giving, encompassing only to preserve and keep complete what it would give. In my tiny kingdom, I have so little. Should it not then be there that I would call on love to enter? Look at the desert, dry and unproductive, scorched and joyless, that makes up my little kingdom. And I realize the life and joy that love would bring to it. Where it comes and where it would return with me.
Okay, so I look at the desert, dry and unproductive, scorched and joyless. It makes up my little home. And realize the life and joy that love would bring to it, where it comes and where it would return with me. And so love, life, joy, joy. Joy would bring. And so from where it comes, from where love comes, and where it would return with me. And then return to love. Okay, so what's he saying in number 8? Let's summarize that.
Love extends itself. And it has no limit, impartial in its giving. I have so little, would I not call on love to enter into my tiny home and realize that life and joy and love, life and joy that love would bring would be my companion in going back to where it came from.
So if I recognize that I have so little, why wouldn't I invite love in? If I look at the desert of my life in the dream world, my little home, surely I realize that life and joy are necessary there, that I should invite these in to bring the life-giving water of source back to the dry and joyless desert. So really helpful, uses these analogies. So it's used the sun and the ocean, the desert, to help us visualize, to help us really get what he means, because these things are all really just happening in the mind. Okay, so anything else? Any other thoughts, comments, questions on number 8?
My thinking over these last 2 paragraphs is, if love extends and reaches to everything extended like itself,
Yeah.
if there would, and we made this choice to be part of Source, there would be no evil.
Yeah.
And yet humanity chooses to be the separate self,
Yeah.
even though love is being extended.
Yeah. Lastly, but understand there would be no humanity if we all accepted the truth. We wouldn't be here as humans on this planet, seemingly trying to live. So the story would end. Do you understand the implications? Yeah, the whole thing ends. The game is over. The dream is over.
So it is like it is for a reason that is beyond our comprehension, but it's probably along the path of get your act right and get it right and choose to.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is a construct of separation. So we think because we think separation is real, we think we as humans are real. We think the world is real, And humanity would cease to exist, and the world would cease to exist if we didn't have the idea of separation. So the whole thing would just cease to have any reality. And so we defend the human condition as we defend our little kingdoms of being human. We have our separate self, we have the world, and we think this little kingdom that we made is home, and we think this is reality. And we defend that desperately against the truth, even though we suffer and we die here. And he, as our teacher, has to show us that and get us to reverse our idea, our thought, change our minds. But then you understand why humanity's attached to separation, because without it there would be no humanity. There's no human condition there. It's gone. There would be no need to seemingly have a form and be a body, and no need to live on a planet somewhere and go round and around the. I mean, it's a bit bizarre. Have you ever thought about it? It's like, it's crazy. We're in the middle of nowhere. Apparently, this is a vast universe. We're a tiny little planet in one solar system in this enormous galaxy, and then there's like billions of these galaxies. It's like this vast expanse of nothingness, and we kind of stuck here circling around this planet, circling around this big ball of fire, going around and around on this planet, and the planet's rotating, so we have days and nights, and we seemingly live here. It's bizarre. Like, what the hell's going on here? What's it all about, really?
We obviously all want it. That's why it still exists.
Yeah, it continues because the mind still wants separation. But from a perspective of oneness, there's no reason for it to exist. Your formless awareness of perfect love is your home, and this is a delusion. And so we just crazy to choose this. Such an uncertain existence, as human, doomed to die. We're all going to die. It's a guarantee. The moment you're born, it's a done deal. You're going to die, and sometimes there's a 80, 90 year span between those events, but it's a kind of a done deal the moment you're born, and you cycle around this big ball of fire, and you have various experiences on this planet. And we think this is reality and somehow has meaning and purpose and value. And Yeshua is just reminding us that, it's a desert. There's nothing really, of any substance here. There's nothing that's real. There's nothing that's valuable. So let it all go and be willing to transcend it all and go home to what pre-existed the universe of time and space. What is completely beyond this time-space idea and anything that seems to exist within it. So it's completely transcendent, completely freeing, but the ego goes, oh no, brakes on, that's too dangerous because it's the end of its existence, the end of the world, end of the human condition. And most people are not ready to end it, are they? They still think they're human, and they're very attached to their human condition. It requires a very open mind, a willing mind to listen to this kind of teaching and accept it. And not run a mile away, because it is the end. This will end the dream. And he's saying, but surely you want that. Why would you want to attach to this desert, dry and unproductive, scorched and joyless, that makes up my little home? Why would you want to preserve that? Why would you want to live in a desert that's dry and unproductive and scorched and joyless, where eventually, after much suffering, death comes to you? Why would you want to do that to yourself? So you can realize the life and the joy that love would bring to it, the tiny home, from where it comes. And the life and the joy comes from the source, and where it would return with me. Okay,
Okay.
clear? Ready to let it all go? Make the universe disappear?
Now I'm worried about everybody else.
You're worried about everyone else.
My
Why?
6 little children love being here. They have a wonderful life. They don't
Yeah,
even think of
for now,
death.
but no doubt it's going to change as they grow up. They'll
Yeah,
have challenges, they'll have issues, and they're going to die, all of them.
it's not the worst thing that can happen to one. We're all conditioned that that's what's going to happen. So
Yes,
it's-
yeah, but I mean, it's a delusion. How can what's eternal die? You see? I mean, it's like crazy. How can actually that be? Only in a delusion can you seem to die. So you see, that's a special relationship. What will keep you here, Christine, is a special relationship. Do you see that? But what about my children? What about my grandchildren?
yes, and they're programmed to find a special relationship.
Oh,
And they'll go through the whole process, believing this is happiness.
but
Until they get to the end of their lives, then they will realize it was all a mistake.
maybe not. Maybe they'll wake up sooner. Who knows? But everyone's got their journey. You take your journey. You leave. You transcend completely. You're not, again. See, there's the control. I worry about them. Why would you worry about them when the Holy Spirit's got them? When the Holy Spirit knows exactly what their journey home is, why would you need to worry about it at all?
So I'm the tiny man idea.
Yeah, because it creates some kind of separate identity for you. Because now I'm little Christine worrying about my children and my grandchildren, but none of that's true. You see, the whole construct is false. They're not really your grandchildren.
They're temporary.
It's just an illusion. The whole thing's illusion. They're not even any bodies going on. This is what Yeshua's saying. You think they're bodies living in bodies as separate identities with their own names and their own personalities and their own identities, but none of it's true. It's all part of the dream. So from that perspective, they aren't even your grandchildren. There are no grandchildren. There are no people. It says there are no people. People are delusion. They're no people. It's all delusion. There are no bodies. There are no people. It's all just a hallucination of a mind that's completely lost the plot and miscreated this whole alternative reality to confuse you into believing that you're a separate self. That's all. That's all that's going on. And the special relationship keeps it in place. Oh, I worry about my children. Well, they're not even your children. They never were. Because there are no children. There are no bodies. None of it's true. Right? They figures projected onto the four-dimensional screen of time and space by this insane ego mind to show you that it's real. And then they tempt you and they say, well, yeah, they're your grandchildren. No, remember that. And they're important to you and they're valuable and they're meaningful and their life means something, and on it goes. And all of that denies pure formless awareness of perfect love. All of it denies it, you see. Do you see how insidious the ego is? One thought like that, oh, but they're my grandchildren, I worry about them, that splits your mind and you now separate it from your source. And now you now believe that you're the ripple, somehow trying to make things work in your little kingdom, and you've forgotten that you're just part of the great ocean of truth. And so are they. They're just another ripple, but it's all the same ocean. So now, why would one ripple worry about another when the ocean is taking care of it all?
Yeah, I know that.
It's a delusion. It can't be true. It just separates you from your source. That's what the ego is using it for. So to see that very clearly, and be willing to go the whole way with this. This is why enlightenment is hard for us as humans, because it undoes the entire human condition, all of it. There's no more bodies, there's no more special relationships, there's no more world here, none of the rituals that we live here that we think are important exist there. It's all gone. Erased, gone. Pull the plug on the whole thing. And so the mind has really got to be ready for a complete undoing. As Cypher said to Neo in the Matrix, buckle your seatbelts, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye. The whole thing is going bye-bye. Bye-bye, bye-bye to the whole world of illusion. Which, our spirit rejoices at that. But the ego is sad. The ego thinks it's losing something of value. It's separate self, it's separate existence, but what about, these relationships are valuable. The world offers me something. And in truth, it offers you nothing. That's what we've got to realize. It's the hardest lesson to learn. Nothing is here of any value. Okay, so thoughts on any other thoughts on number 8?
No.
Lynn, John. Yeah, so number 9, the thought of God. Surround kingdom.
I'm okay with number 8 actually. The thought of pure formless awareness of perfect love surrounds my little kingdom, waiting at the barrier I built to come inside and shine upon the barren ground. See how life springs up everywhere. The desert becomes a garden, green and deep and quiet, offering rest to those who lost their way and wander in the dust. Give them a place of refuge, prepared by love for them where once a desert was. And everyone I welcome will bring love with it from the state of pure formless awareness for me. They enter one by one into this holy place. But they will not depart as they had come alone. The love they brought with them will stay with them, as it will stay with me. And under its beneficence, my little garden will expand and reach out to everyone who thirsts for living water, but has grown too weary to go on alone. A very poetic,
Very
poetically
poetic,
colourful paragraph.
Yeah, so what's he saying in that one?
So he's saying here, just
will you read it again, John, just from the top?
Yeah, let's do that. The thought of perfect love surrounds my little home, waiting at the barrier I built to come inside and shine upon the barren ground. I see how life springs up everywhere. The desert becomes a garden, green and deep and quiet, offering rest to those who lost their way and wander in the dust. Give them a place of refuge, prepared by love for them where a desert once was. And everyone I welcome will bring love with it from the state of pure formless awareness for me. They enter one by one into this innocent state, but they will not depart as they had come alone. The love they brought with them will stay with them, as it will stay with me. And under its beneficence, my little garden will expand and reach out to everyone who thirsts for living water, but has grown too weary to go on alone. So he's saying here that as I open up to oneness and accept it and leave and let go of this idea of separation, I enter, but my garden, my sense of beingness is enhanced, and others will actually come and join me in this state of enhanced awareness, because I will offer them a place of refuge and succor.
My little garden will expand. So I make a home in truth in this world, and then it's going to expand and it's going to extend into the world, and people will be drawn to the garden because it's green and it's lush and it's pleasant, and there's water, the living water being the spirit. The living water. Maybe we could say the this life essence. The living water is the life essence. This essence of life has grown too weary to go on alone. Okay. So
Yes, very
lovely poetic.
paragraph. It's nice. Yeah.
You establish your home in this garden, and others will come. Which in a way, we're all a product of that. Look at this Art of Letting Go program and community. It's the garden, isn't it? You come into the garden and you get the essence of life, and that's a home. It just started with an idea that was inspired. It was given to me by the Holy Spirit, and then the people come because they want the life essence that they can get in the garden. So that's it's a demonstration of it. Right now, what we're doing is exactly a demonstration of these principles in action. Place of refuge in the dream, and we can all create these kinds of gardens to bring other people in and make them feel at home and welcome and comforted. The garden is a refuge from the desert that seemingly so cruel and harsh as the outside world. So you come in here and you rest in the garden in peace and quietness and stillness for a while, and then that fortifies you to go back out into the desert and take the garden with you. And he says the love they brought with them will stay with them as it will stay with me. My garden will expand. So ideally, the garden expands to reach everyone, and the garden becomes green, and the green takes over the desert, and you reclaim the desert. All right. I'm happy with that one. Kingdom of Heaven. So go out and find them. Lynn, do you want to read, or are you still wanting to just listen? No? Okay, maybe Lynn's fallen asleep.
Go
So,
out and find them, for they bring. I go out and find them, for they bring myself with them. And I lead them gently to my quiet garden and perceive their blessing there. So will it grow and stretch across the desert, leaving no lonely little kingdoms locked away from love and leaving me inside. And I will recognize myself and see my little garden gently transformed into the state of pure formless awareness, with all the love of its source shining upon it.
that's the experience. So we will experience this, experience my little garden gently transformed into the state of pure formless awareness. All the love of its source shining upon it. They're lovely, lovely imagery and very poetic. Just asking us to, yeah. Well, build a garden here. He's saying make a home here. And if you establish yourself in the truth, then people will come into that domain. They're attracted to it, and you welcome people in and invite people in. And so it's a call to create, community, a home for people. Which, as I said, has been demonstrated in real time, because we're all hanging out here for hours a day, and there's the life essence of the source is what draws us back, because we get that from the garden. And so in your own lives, I ask yourself, well, how can I create a garden for other people? That they come and they rest in that peaceful garden for a while, and they feel refreshed and restored. That's what he's saying we should all do. Okay. Any other thoughts on that? John, Lynn?
No,
Just
it's
listen.
fine.
That's good.
They're saying this is how it'll stretch across the desert. So your garden will green the desert, and the whole illusion of separation from source will be healed. And this is the awakening. The awakening of humanity is upon us. So you get it, you in your garden, and then he's asking us to extend it to the whole, leaving no lonely little homes locked away from love. And leaving me inside. So the imprisonment of the ego, the desert, all of that is undone by pure formless awareness of perfect love, and it works through me. I need to be the instrument of it in this world. Okay. So number 11, the holy instant, so the holy aware moment. It's my invitation to love.
Is it
Ron,
me
you
or?
read that one? Yeah, you can read that.
The holy aware moment is my invitation to love to enter into my bleak and joyless kingdom and to transform it into a garden of peace and welcome. Love's answer is inevitable. It will come because I came without the body and interposed no barriers to interfere with its glad coming. In the wholly aware moment, I ask of love only what it offers everyone, neither less nor more. Asking for everything, I will receive it. And my shining self will lift the tiny aspect that I tried to hide from the state of pure formless awareness straight to the state of pure formless awareness.
Yeah, so that's heaven. You try to hide heaven and you go straight to heaven. You want to read that in the original, your shining self?
And perhaps I could just read the whole thing in the original.
Right.
The holy instant is your invitation to love to enter into your bleak and joyless kingdom and to transform it into a garden of peace and welcome. Love's answer is inevitable. It will come because you came without a body and interposed no barriers to interfere with its glad coming. In the holy instant, you ask of love only what it offers everyone, neither less nor more. Asking for everything, you will receive it. And your shining self will lift the tiny aspect that you tried to hide from heaven straight to heaven. No part of love calls on the whole in vain. No son of God remains outside his father. So he's reassuring us here that
So
we are
read the
okay.
alternatives of the last three.
And my
My
shining
self.
self will lift the tiny aspect that I tried to hide from the state of pure formless awareness straight to the state of pure formless. No part of love calls on the whole in vain. No extension of pure formless awareness that perfect love remains outside the soul.
Okay, so what's he saying here?
So he's saying here that through the now, our gate of entry is the now. That's our gate of entry into love, which will help transform our little existences into spiritual experience. And by entering into this, we ask for everything, not just a little. And by so doing, no one is left out.
Yeah, all summarized. So it's answer. It's offered to everyone, including me. No part of life calls on the whole in vain. No extension of perfect love remains outside its source. And it's our task to hold this awareness for others who may not know this is the case. That's the only purpose here. It's the at-one-ment to come into every mind. Remind every mind that's seemingly lost in the desert that it's not. that there is salvation, that it can awaken from the nightmare of the ego's dream. Okay. Any other thoughts on that? I'm going to number 12.
Be sure of this. Love has entered my special relationship and entered fully at my weak request. Do not recognize that love. I do not recognize that love has come because I have not yet let go of all the barriers I hold against my companion. And I and he will not be able to give love welcome separately.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't do it separately, because it's one love, it's the same love. So we go together to it, or not at all.
I don't understand why the welcome is there.
Hmm.
Oh, to welcome love.
Hmm.
Okay. I could no more know pure formless awareness of perfect love alone than it knows me without my companion. But together we could no more be unaware of love than love could us know us not or fail to recognize itself in us. So it's putting a positive spin on special relationships, to enter into them I do not recognize that love has come because I have not yet let go of all the barriers I hold against my companion. So ideally one should lose the separation of self in regards to your companion and welcome love together. Be able to welcome love together.
Yeah.
As we know, pure formless awareness, perfect love together.
Hmm.
And so the reverse would happen.
No more be unaware of love, and love could know us, could not know us, nor fail to recognize itself in us. I let go of all the barriers I hold against my companion. Yeah, so those barriers are grievances, judgments, attack thoughts that keep me separate from my companion and from this eternal love, unconditional love that is being offered to me and to them, but my ego won't let me see it.
And so as I bring it in, my companion will be drawn to me because I've created this little garden.
Wow.
And together we can take it further.
Hmm. Together we go back to our source, back to love. Merging into this shared awareness. And he's really saying it's a done deal, It will happen. Together we could no more be unaware of love, and love could not know us or fail to recognize itself in us. Can be capitalized, I think. Okay, happy with that.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the last paragraph, I think. So I have reached the end of an ancient journey.
I have reached the end of an ancient journey, not realizing yet that it is over. I am still worn and tired, and the desert dust still seems to cloud my eyes and keep me sightless. Yet the pure formless awareness of perfect love, whom I welcomed, has come to me and would welcome me. It has waited long to give me this. Receive it now of it, for it would have me know it. Only a little wall of dust still stands between me and my companion. Blow on it lightly with happy laughter, and it will fade away. And walk into the garden love has prepared for both of us.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to read it from the top, John. I'll make sure I
Yep.
got it all correct.
I have reached the end of an ancient journey, not realizing yet that it is over. I am still worn and tired, and the desert's dust still seems to cloud my eyes and keep me sightless. Yet, the pure formless awareness of perfect love, whom I welcomed, has come to me and welcomes me. It has waited long to give me this. I receive it now from it, for it would have me know it. Only a little wall of dust still stands between me and my companion. I blow on it lightly and with happy laughter, and it will fall away, and walk into the garden of love has prepared for both of us. And walk into the garden that love has prepared for both of us. And I walk into the garden
Yeah.
love has prepared for both.
Yeah, lovely imagery, really. Just
Yes, it is.
quite a poetic, quite a poetic passage, really.
Mm.
So, yeah. So we can just do a little summary of this quickly. Happening now. Regenerate. And then I'll just ask it to summarize it, see? So we have a summary.
Mm.
Well, look at how quick it is. It's extraordinary. It's like,
Yeah.
continue generating. No, it doesn't seem to have done paragraph 13 for some reason. So I'll just copy this. summarize the text below in under 300 words. And then off we go, and it does its thing. How long is that? It's quite long. I think it is quite a long section. So I'll ask it to summarize it a bit more. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs. Summarize it a bit more, maybe. Summarize the text of in under 300 words. Let's try again. Let's see if it. And a bit smaller. Yeah, it is a little bit. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so let's it paste it in there. Okay, so just to recap and read the summary briefly.
The passage highlights that the awareness of the body limits our experience of love. The belief is in limited love originates from our identification with the body, leading us to think of love in relation to external forms. However, the body itself.
My experience. Let's just personalize it. It's done it our rather than my.
Oh yes. Believe in
Actually, I'd probably ask it to simplify matters a bit. So write the above summary in the first person. Yeah, so there we go. Let's go down. All right, start again. So
in this passage, I learned that my awareness of the body limits my experience of love. It originates from the belief in limited love, which arises from identifying with the body and perceiving love in external forms. However, the body itself cannot truly know love. And by focusing solely on its senses, I miss out on the vastness surrounding me.
now, any thoughts on that?
I think
It's
it's exceptionally well summarized, isn't it?
It's very good at summaries, yeah. Very quickly, because to do this, I actually worked with Lynn today. We worked with a summary of the text, one of the sections of the text in a one-on-one session. It was very effective because it kind of gets the essence, it's condensed into kind of a package.
Yeah.
Information, condensed it all. So hopefully it'll make the text much more accessible and understandable for people to read it in this form. Because that's pretty explicit, that's pretty understandable. I mean, what's said here is not anything
No, it is.
anyone at a reasonable level of education and understanding couldn't understand.
Should I continue?
Yeah, unless Christine wants to do some. Christine, do you want to read?
Yeah.
Happy to let John do it.
He's better at that than I am.
Really? No, I think you should do it then, definitely. You're not
I
better than
realize-
you read very well.
But my voice is so weak, can't project.
It's not so weak. It's not true. We can hear you perfectly. Why do you say that?
I've been listening to the recordings and they sound putrid. I'm so embarrassed.
Really?
It's like I'm forcing my voice out.
Right. Okay.
There we go. I realize that the body creates a confined kingdom separate from the state of pure awareness where love cannot, pure formless awareness where love cannot enter. Within this limited kingdom, I am driven by the belief in separation, fighting against the universe. But the sun and ocean, representing the whole, remain unaware of this illusion.
Representing the whole. Whole reality, shall we say. Remain unaware of this illusion. Okay, so any thoughts on that one?
No, it's very good.
So next one, yet I discover.
Yet I discover that I am continuous with the whole, and my true identity extends beyond the limitations of the body. Love knows no boundaries and encompasses everything created like itself. It gives impartially, preserving and keeping complete what it offers. I
Yeah.
understand that the thought of perfect love surrounds my limited kingdom, waiting to transform the barren ground into a flourishing garden. Life emerges abundantly, and as I welcome others, they bring love from the state of pure, formless awareness. In this sacred place, love remains with me, expanding my little garden to reach those in need.
Yeah. And the desert. Transform the barren ground. Transform the desert. It's a desert into a flourishing garden. The desert of separation. Okay, John, do you want to read the next one?
Encouraged to seek out others, I understand that they carry my true self within them. Guiding them to my tranquil garden, it undergoes a gentle transformation into a state of pure awareness, shining with the love of its source. In the wholly aware moment, I invite love to enter my kingdom and bring peace. Love's response is certain as I release the barriers and wholeheartedly ask for its full expression.
It undergoes, that should be they. What do you think? Carry my true self within them. They.
Yeah, they.
Guiding them to my tranquil garden. In my tranquil garden. But it does seem to understand, really it's understanding, isn't it? To summarize like this, you have to sort of understand what's being said.
Mhm.
My tranquil garden, we undergo a gentle transformation into a state of this awareness, shining
Also,
with the love.
the above paragraph state of pure fullness awareness, capital.
Where's that? State
Six.
there. Oh, state. Anyway, moment, I invite love into my kingdom, into my home, and bring me peace.
Bring us peace, surely.
Yeah, bring us peace. Love's response is certain as I release the barriers, or actually ask for its full expression. So I release the barriers I have built against my companions, against others, and wholeheartedly ask for its full expression through us, something like that. Okay, next one.
I come to recognize that love has already entered my special relationships, even if I haven't fully realized it due to the barriers I hold against others. This passage concludes with the understanding that I have reached the end of a profound journey, and the pure awareness of perfect love has come to welcome me. With a joyous laugh, I blow away the remaining barriers, and I am warmly invited to walk into the garden of love, prepared for both myself and others.
Oh. Okay, let's just. So do you think, if you read that summary, you get the essence of the whole section?
Definitely.
Do you think it captures it? It's just kind of the idea. So someone could read one page instead of the whole thing and get it. Warmly invited to walk into the garden of love, prepared for both myself and others. Reached a profound journey. Pure forms has come to welcome me. Blow away the remaining barriers to love. Okay, and then so read this. So this is what I did a year ago as the key message. So we could include this as a very short, it's like a shorter version of a summary. Do you think this is valuable? Read it.
Well, the key message of this section is that I can let go of needing to provide for my body's comfort and pleasure in an instant that shows me that the past, the future, and the idea of sin that relies on these delusions are not real. This instant of being fully in the now will open my mind to experience the truth that I need do nothing, as I am already whole, complete and perfect. This quiet state of beingness will allow me to do things in the world without losing myself in them, and will be a constant refuge for me in the face of the challenge that I may face in life. Staying connected to this quiet center within me is my key to staying in flow in all my activities that make up so much of my daily life.
I'm not sure this was actually
It sounds as though it's got some new elements in it.
but
And
definitely.
it's got nothing about the other companions inviting others
I think
in.
it might be from another section actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Needing to provide for my body's comfort and pleasure. Okay, so what we'll do, because it's quite simple to do that, we'll say summarize the key message of the above response in under. So this is when it does under 50 words, it's actually really quite, it's like a bite-sized chunk. So I think this I could do like more. I could do 100 words. But,
50 is very small.
yeah, but the idea is it's like the key takeaway, isn't it? It's like, okay, it's the absolute essence, the key message in a sentence or two, I don't know. Let's just see how it reads. So that's the key message then. Key message, you want to read that, John?
Key message is that by identifying with the body and perceiving love through external forms, we limit our experience of love. Embracing the state of pure formless awareness and removing barriers allows us to recognize the boundless nature of love and its transformative power.
Oh, so then, that's an absolute like key takeaway. The idea is to just like help people to really get, what it's saying. So you summarize it and then there's just like a key takeaway out of this. What do you think?
Well, I think if you boil it down, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you do the whole thing and then you summarize it and then you like, okay, so what is the key message in 50 words? I think that's got to be quite powerful.
Yeah. Should it be me rather than us in that last line? Removing barriers allows us to recognize.
It allows, limit my experience of love, embracing the state of pure formless awareness. So you could, take this key takeaway, you could print it out and you could just kind of meditate on that. It's like the sutra form. That's a very brief, short encapsulation. And if you've studied the whole thing in some depth, then it's like the key message brings it all back. So okay, I remember the whole thing. That's sort of the idea.
Yeah.
So how one does studying.
I think it works that way around, as opposed to if you only read this.
Yeah, you're not going to get the full benefit if you just go, oh, well, I'll just skip to the key message, because there's a process to this. By going through the process of reading and like we have, something changes in you. And removing barriers. I've built, I've created against it, built. Well, he's to recognize the boundless nature, the unlimited nature of love and its transformative power for myself and others, something like that.
You need another it in there. I have built against it.
Yeah,
Allows me.
there isn't it there. The barriers I built against it allows me to recognize the elements of nature, of its transformative power, and its how might we say, its ability to transform me and ability to transform everyone, maybe. Some ability to, and its power to transform everyone's lives from, maybe we'll give a little, from deserts to living gardens, deserts to gardens, gardens of peace and joy. Life-giving, tranquil. Okay, you want to read that again? Christine, you read that one.
Okay, and then I'm pulling out because I must get into bed before the next blackout.
Okay, well, I'm going to do a meditation now. So if you want to stick around for that, it's up to you. Might be a nice way to end the session.
The key message is that by identifying with the body and perceiving love through external forms, I limit my experience of love. Embracing the state of pure formless awareness and removing the barriers I have built against it, capital, allows me to recognize the unlimited nature of love and its power to transform everyone's lives from deserts to life-giving, tranquil gardens. Yes, that's much better.
Happy with that? And then, so there's a very key, that's the idea of the second one, is it's really short because it's just like, it's like the sutra. Okay, just that's the absolute essence. If you expand it to another sentence or two, it starts to lose its power, I think. So that's the idea anyway. Okay, so yeah, would you like to do a meditation?
I'm going to go now, Jono, but it's been very, very good. So thank you very much.
Okay. Christine, will you stick around for a meditation? We'll do a meditation on the executive summary.
Yes, I'll stick around. I just want to go and put the lights on upstairs and put on the heater. Thanks.
Yeah, okay. So we'll start in 2 minutes. Lynn, you still with us? Ask if Lynn's would like to do a meditation with us. You know, but all right, so I'll just go to very quickly and get. Christine, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right, so just making yourself comfortable, sitting feet shoulder width apart, your back straight, cup your hands in your lap.
Okay, and good night, and thank you for this evening.
Yeah, because you'll go straight off to sleep.
Yeah, there'll be a
Yeah,
blackout at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
All right, Christine.
bye.
Must have a good weekend. We'll see you hopefully Sunday
Okay.
evening if you'd like to join. Otherwise, next week, Monday. Okay, so just making yourself start again. Yeah, so making yourself comfortable, sitting favorite meditation posture or lying down. Ideally sit up though, because you might fall asleep otherwise. So self comfortable, feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap, or have your hands palms facing upwards on your knees, so your thighs. So take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clenching the sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Pull the energy up your spine. To the crown of your head. Pausing at the top of the inhale. So it's a maximal inhale breath. Just scan your mind, notice any thoughts, any related emotions, body thoughts, sensations going on, and just let them go. You're going to clear the space, open your mind to experience the truth that has come through in this section and is summarized in this summary that I'm going to read you. Exhale, just blow away all the dysfunction, any negativity, anything that's causing you any kind of distress. Just release it. You make a decision. Power of decision is my own. That's today's lesson. So let it go. Choose to let it go with the breeze of your breath. Imagine you blowing it out. The black smoke out of your mouth. It's going, going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest in this deep peace and stillness for a few moments. So now just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Observe the breath flowing into the nostrils and out of the nostrils. Stomach rises and stomach falls. So just get into this nice, deep, rhythmical pattern, the breath flowing in and the breath flowing out. So the stomach rising, the stomach falling, subtle sensations of the breath in the nostrils. And just enter into a calm, quiet space, space of love. Space in which whole and complete, perfect, and allow these words to come into that space. Emptied your vessel, opened your mind to the truth. So listen to these words, breathe in as I speak them, and then when I pause, you speak them, you affirm the truth of them, ideally out loud. So you're saying these words as affirmations of truth. So breathing in through the nose, stomach rises, chest rises, pause to listen. So my awareness of the body limits my experience of love. And you exhale out through the nose. To repeat those words. Awareness of the body limits my experience of love. Breathing in again through the nose. Body limits, the body originates from the belief in limited love. So exhale. Repeat those words. Breathing in again, which arises from identifying with the body and perceiving love in external forms. Exhale, repeat those words. Breathe in again, pause. However, the body itself cannot truly know love. Exhale, repeat those words. The body itself cannot truly know love. Breathe in again. And by focusing solely on its senses, I miss out on the vastness surrounding me. I focus solely on the body's senses, miss out on this vastness, great ocean of truth, as Isaac Newton called it. And so just keep breathing in and out. Through your nose, breathing in as I speak, and then as you exhale out through your nose, you speak and you affirm the truth. So I'll let you just do that without prompting you. So breathe in, and I realize the body creates a confined kingdom, confined home for me. Separate from the state of pure formless awareness, where love cannot enter. Within this limited home, I am driven by the belief in separation, the fight against the true universe. Fight against true reality. But sun in the ocean, representing whole reality, remain unaware of this illusion. So I'm like a ripple. In the ocean. Or a sunbeam emanating from the sun. driven by my belief in separation. Fight against. Sun in the ocean. Presenting this whole reality. Just remain unaware of this. Unaware of my delusion. How can a ripple or a sunbeam really fight against what it's part of? What gives it existence? How's that possible? And yet, and breathing in again, and yet I discover I am continuous. I am continuous with the whole. My true identity extends beyond the limitations of my body. Love knows no boundaries. And encompasses everything extended like itself. It gives impartially, preserving and keeping complete what it offers. I understand the thought of perfect love surrounds my limited home. Waiting to transform the desert of separation into a flourishing garden. Life emerges abundantly. And as I welcome others, they bring love from the state of pure, formless awareness. In this sacred state, love remains with me. Expanding my little garden to reach those in need. Encouraged to seek out others. I seek out others. And the understanding they carry my true self within them. In my tranquil garden, we undergo a gentle transformation into the state of pure formless awareness, shining with the love of its source. In the wholly aware moment, I invite love to enter my home and bring us peace. Love's response is certain as I let go of the barriers I've built against others and wholeheartedly ask for its full expression through us. Come to recognize that love has already entered. My special relationships. Even if I haven't fully realized it due to the block I hold towards others. And blocks I have towards loving others. I've reached the end of a profound journey. And pure formless awareness of perfect love has come to welcome me. A joyous laugh. I blow away the remaining barriers to love. And I'm warmly invited to walk into the garden of love. And for both myself and others. And the true self of others. And the knowledge that we are one. And so it is. And the very essence, the key message of this section, of identifying with the body, receiving love through external forms, I limit my experience of love. Embracing the state of pure formless awareness, removing the barriers I've built against it, allows me to recognize the unlimited nature of love and its power to transform everyone's lives, from deserts to life-giving, tranquil gardens. And so just rest in this life-giving, tranquil garden given to you by the Spirit of life itself. She is this pure formless awareness of perfect love. And let it arise in your mind, in your awareness right now. There's nowhere else to go, there's nothing else to do, just breathe in and out through your nose, let that just happen. And let yourself just sink inwards, sinking inwards to the depths of your being. The bliss of beingness. So nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about, just breathe, relax, be still, and surrender into the stillness. Into the joy and stillness of life itself. In the next couple of minutes of deep, tranquil silence. Any thoughts coming on that seem to disturb this deep, tranquil peace? Remind yourself today's lesson, the power of decision is my own, and I can choose, I can accept that I am just an extension of perfect love. Accept myself as what my source's will extends me to be in this moment. I am that I am. Now rest in this holy presence. And exhale, blow away any obstacles, any barriers to this state of pure formless awareness, perfect love, and let it hide in you, in your mind, in your heart, taking you deeper and deeper into itself till you merge into this awareness. You are completely in the state of pure formless awareness. And so just gently coming back from this deep connected state and awareness of the body and the breath, senses in the world, and on the count of 3, you can open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in. Notice how the stomach rises and the chest rises and the subtle flow there into the nostrils. And pause at the top of the inhale. Scan your minds, noticing any thoughts and emotions, related body sensations going on. Particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way, shape or form. And you blow it out. Blow it away with the breeze of your breath. The nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. From the lower stomach to the spine. All the last remaining air out. And you just rest. In this deep peace and stillness. A few moments. Count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling and touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, smell in your nose. And there's what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind. State without illusions, state in which there's only pure formless awareness, perfect love. So anchor the state in, set the intention to stay there for the rest of the evening and on into the weekend ahead. Use today's lesson to top you up if you need to. Practice it just to reconnect with this presence. Maybe do practice it one more time before bed. Longer form, I've given you a longer meditation to help you do that, or a shorter breath break. Use either of those, and that'll keep you in the peace of God, the peace of pure formless awareness that surpasses all understanding. There it is. So now on the count of 3, open your eyes. So just take a minute to look around, observing various objects in the room around you. Noticing whatever's going on from the state, tranquil state of pure formless awareness. Notice how it doesn't matter what you look at, still connected to source. This pure formless awareness still underlies all of your sense perceptions, and you rest in this deeper awareness, this base state, call it foundational happiness. So you're going to anchor the state in, use the lesson to help you stay connected if you're tempted to depart from it. And I wish you much love, peace, and joy. And that brings us to the end of the meditation. And the end of tonight's session. So thank you to everyone who joined. John, Lynn, Christine, lovely session, and wishing you much peace, love, and joy. Namaste. Which means the loving awareness in me acknowledges and honors that same loving awareness in you.